Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. So I'm going to try my best to do some kind of an impression video or review, whatever you want to call it, of Marvel Avengers beta. And I've been getting a lot of questions for it. I didn't even really intend on doing one because it's a beta and there are going to be multiple weeks to be able to try this out. There will even be an open beta towards the end of the month for everybody to be able to get their hands on, because this is one of those games where your impressions are actually what matters. My impressions may help you, but I think they'll probably not serve a full purpose. But what I've done though is I've taken some notes. I took it on my phone because I really don't want to write a script, and I'm going to just pretty much read, from them, because these notes are observations that I've made. And I wanted to try to, maybe kind of put it all together and see if it's going to help people to realize what this game is. So the very first thing is expectations. One thing a lot of people kind of brought to this game was they brought all their expectations to this game and said, oh, I wish this game was this. I wish this game had that. I wish this game would do that. Well, here are the things that you actually see when you come to this game. Maybe they meet your expectations, maybe they don't. So picture a box. The box has got 5 games in it, right? 4 of those games are Destiny, The Division, Warframe, and Borderlands. The 5th game is Marvel Avengers in that box. Now, the reason I threw them all in that box is because not like they're all the same games, but you can pretty much categorize them into being around the same genre. They're all executed in different ways. One of them, in fact, two of them, are actually free-to-play models, if you get what I mean. But in the case of Marvel Avengers, that's actually a game that you pay for the main game, and then DLC and added content, according to the developers, is free. Whereas a game like Destiny 2 or so, it's free to play, but DLC and additional content you have to pay for. So they have their differences. If you look at the execution, look at the business model and the way they've actually, done these games. But at the end of the day, they're designed to fulfill a need. This need is for people who like games that, as a player, you can constantly keep logging in daily and playing, getting your player to be stronger, and then having to, level up their skills by doing activities, farming for gear, looking for loot, and looking for more effective ways to level up those players and make them, basically beasts. And then they can walk into an arena and one-shot everything or one-tap everything in the case of this game. So that's what you should expect. I'm not saying that this game is the same as Destiny. I know Destiny players hate when you compare any game to Destiny. Y'all need to relax, Destiny folks. It's a compliment. When a game sees that your business model is successful and they try to copy something from it, then that's a compliment. You got to calm down. I've seen many Destiny players, hound me over comparisons with the Division and Division 2. And I do it because Destiny to me is almost like the gold standard. I'm not saying they are the gold standard. I'm saying that they are the model that a lot of businesses have, basically sought to follow. If you get what I mean. I mean, look at Anthem. Anthem made an attempt. The only thing is EA's greed would not let them even make a full and, a complete game. Now, Square Enix is doing something of that sort, just skinning it with the Avengers. And so, please, if your expectations are Batman Arkham Knight, you're going to be blown away as to how that is not going to meet your expectations. If you're thinking Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man on PS4, it's not gonna meet your expectations in that sense. Those games are designed as one-off, or what I'll call, I wrote down something here, single stretch games that are designed to stretch for a single experience, whereas this game is more like a dedicated and changing experience over time. They might nerf a character, they might buff a character, they might make changes to the in-game meta, what gear or how much gear is dropping in different places as the game comes out. So these are very different execution models, and so that's the very first lens that you need to look at Marvel Avengers. In fact, if by this point you don't know if you should still buy the game or not, then you probably shouldn't buy the game. But if at this point you say, oh, that's exactly what I want to be playing, then you're the audience for this game. I think people are misconstruing the name and the brand under which it's coming as what they think the game will be. That's probably not what it's going to be. So it's best that you understand exactly what this game is before going into it. The second thing that I wanted to, basically talk about is the way the character design is during multiplayer, combat. So the only thing is this: if you pick a character, you will play that whole mission with that character. If you're playing solo and it's a multiplayer mission, the game is going to assign to you 3 other Avengers. I think you can select and choose once you get more unlocked or available, and they will go on a mission with you. You can only use a character that you're with. You can't swap around to different characters. The reason I say this is because Batman Arkham Knight has that system in it where you can play some, some weird mission areas where you can swap between one character to the other or give commands to your other characters. The AI isn't working like that in the beta. I don't know if it's going to be in the full release, but I doubt it. It's just all of them running and beating bad guys with you. That's how it's going to be. And so I wanted to just point that out as well. And then AI awareness and AI behavior in this context is they're good in running around and beating people, but if you need them to do finer details, like say Jarvis wants you guys to stand in this little square, right? And you have 3 of those squares located in different aspects of the arena. Sometimes they're not smart enough to kind of camp close to that area in a capture the flag type sense. So you probably have to be the one, or you will be the one with the AI running around and making sure that, Jarvis is connected to all those uplinks. Now, if you're playing in multiplayer with other people, they will understand that to go stand in those areas. So you're not the only one that's going to have to be doing all that shepherding yourself. So understand that difference, understand what those two really mean, and then we'll move on to gameplay. Now, gameplay. Gameplay for this game is fast-paced and chaotic. When you start running, you move very fast. When you get to the levels, level design is not anything intricate. In fact, some of the levels, they've looked super generic. They've looked very the same. You just keep rinsing and repeating what you're doing. And that's how I think a lot of the missions are going to be. But they will be, in my opinion, from what I've seen, in different ecosystems, different layouts where you're not just kind of running into a building that looks the same. Some will be like maybe desert style or tundra style or ice, snowy area, whatever it is. This is what's going to provide the variation for the level design. Unlike one of the games that I threw in the box in the beginning of this video, The Division, you're going to pretty much see a level design that doesn't meet that same detail. The Division is the boss when it comes to level design of these 5 games that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, because they basically do one-to-one creation of most of their worlds. DC in the game is like DC in real life. You don't have any comparison like that. Destiny is in a different planet, or a series of different planets, as well as Warframe and as well as Borderlands. Marvel Avengers doesn't really give you the option to even do open world exploration, so that's kind of out of the question. I think what they have are exploration missions. Now, the full game's not here, so I have to say that's relegated to the beta. I think if they want to add more open world, exploration type deals, then I think they're probably going to go ahead and do it. And the movement is very smooth. I said that, like Warframe, you're flying in and you're going, you're just playing the game and you're getting all that stuff. So gameplay, just imagine you farming to get your character stronger, taking on new content, taking on new bosses. And I think the way the story progression will go will be you doing these things on the side to get good gear as well, maybe some side missions, and then taking on the main missions as you're progressing your character. There are also difficulty levels available as well, difficulty levels within multiplayer missions. There's also a difficulty level within which you can play the game itself. So that's another thing that you have to kind of pay attention to, because if your main story missions, I think, will inherit the difficulty that you start the game with. I don't know if you can change it within the gameplay itself. Maybe you have to stay on that till the campaign's over. That's something that I'm yet to explore, because so far I've only been playing a lot of the side missions to kind of get a feel for what endgame will look like. This is an endgame kind of game. Many people may not understand that, but that's exactly what it is. Now, to combat, which is, I think, where many people had set themselves up for too many things that they thought would be in this game. Now, the combat is melee based. That means you're going to hit your opponents with maybe a weapon or your hands, and that's where the emphasis really lies. There is range combat. Yes, you can throw stuff or shoot a gun. In the case of my favorite character so far, Black Widow, she uses both handguns, and I think you can upgrade, not like I think, I know you can upgrade to 2 submachine guns in this beta, or upgrade to a high caliber sidearm. Now, range combat is really good when your health's low and you want to kind of hide and take cover in using some obstacles so enemy NPCs don't get you, because a lot of them also fight ranged as well. They shoot weapons, they shoot all kinds of laser beams, so you'll need your range combat to be really strong. Now, I've seen a lot of comments or sentiment of people saying that the combat is really generic. For those people saying that, I don't think they really understand what these games are here to achieve. So let me see if I can put some light on it. First things first, if you think about the way they set up, the skills, you have light attacks, which has its own skill trees. You have heavy attacks, which have their own skill trees. Within these trees, you can level up more abilities for your character to actually do specific moves in specific scenarios. What people are calling generic is that these moves have similar archetypes, but the execution is where it's actually going to differ. Now, let me give you an example. Say you have the character archetype for Black Widow. She has a move where she's running, you hit triangle, and she dives and kicks you with the soles of her feet. In the case of Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, if you do the same thing, he dives and basically falls on top of the enemy. Now, both of them are similar archetypes for running and doing a heavy attack, but they execute them differently, different enough for you to know that Agent Romanov is not the Incredible Hulk. So that difference by itself already stands out, and I don't think that it's a fair comparison for people to actually do that and say, oh, the combat is generic. That's not the way the characters play the game. So these are just a few things to just set the expectations for people. It's not necessarily a review of whether the game is good or bad. I'm not going to sit here and make that determination for you. The only determination that I'm making is one for myself. I already pre-ordered the game, and I'm going to play the game and hopefully level up all my characters as I'm going on. I have questions regarding the systems in the game. Can somebody power level me up? Say I'm already bored and I've already leveled up 6 of my Avengers and I don't want to level up the 7th and the 8th. Can I join a bunch of guys at a high level? And if I join them, am I going to get more XP to level my character up faster? Are gear drops going to be shared? Can they give me gear so that when I actually, when I need for my power level to go up, can they just hook me up and say, hey, here are these vests. Maybe your Iron Man might need it. Maybe your Thor might need it. Or is it going to be a thing where the only gear that you get is the gear that you keep? If they do something like that, then that might not be really good for the game. They need to make a system where you can share gear among people. I don't know. I've not done any matchmaking stuff. I've only been playing by myself because the matchmaking seems bugged right now. And then is there going to be like a clan functionality? And when they're bringing you content, is it going to open up more, options for you to be able to level up? These are, when I say level up, maybe level up to a far greater, level. Like say maybe the highest level right now is level 25. Maybe they add another new expansion and say, oh, go fight this boss and deal with all these different things and weaken the boss. Is that going to mean that, oh, now you're level 25, when you're doing all this stuff, you're now going to level up to level, maybe level 27 or maybe level 30, if you get what I mean. So when you're looking at Marvel's Avengers, think long-term strategy. That's why their business model is adding free DLC and then, inventing a paid cosmetic aspect where people are going to, if they want to engage in buying cosmetics, that's what's going to make them money. I know people have also said, well, I hate that the gear doesn't change your appearance and all that stuff. Hey, I guess that's a valid concern. I played the Division, and if you change your gear, it does change some of the appearance of some of your items, but then there are also cosmetics as well. So that checked off both boxes, but the devs here in the beta so far decided not to do that. Anyways, I'm going to stop here because anything else is just going to be a lot of ranting. I would say you get the beta yourself when it's available for everyone and play it. If you've pre-ordered and you can get in on the beta, sometimes you can get a beta key on some platforms. I would say go ahead and do that if you really want to and judge for yourself what this game is about. You have to play it extensively. You're not going to get a good feel in the very first few minutes. If you judge the game by the very first few minutes, I guess that's your prerogative. But at the end of the day, you can't blame the game for not being something you wanted it to be, if you get what I mean. The game is what it is, and I think the best way to approach it is knowing that. All right, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for your time and audience. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. That's actually more important to me than me just spouting. I want to really hear you guys' thoughts, and I'll be responding to comments. You see a heart on it. If I like the comment, if I don't like the comment, you're not going to get a heart. Peace out.